Back to Florida now, where an emotional day is underway for the family of Kayla Rincon-Miller. Thomas Stein was convicted of her murder after prosecutors said he tried to rob a group of teens, then opened fire, resulting in Kayla's death. Today, the victim's family had the opportunity to address the court before Stein learned his fate. Let's go into court now for the start of the defense's witnesses.
Raise your right hand. You swear affirm testimony you give will be the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
You can take the stand. Proceed when you're ready, Mr. Wheeler.
Good morning, Your Honor.
1 second, let him ask.
Mr. Clark, have you prepared a statement that you'd like to read to the court?
Yes, sir.
And if you could just tell us your full name for the record and spell your last name.
My name is Patrick Anthony Clark, and my last name is spelled C-L-A-R-K.
Okay,
Mr. Clark, how old are you?
I'm 18 years old.
You have a statement you'd like to read?
Yes, sir. Thomas is a best friend. I've known him since the first grade, and we grew up together ever since. Being found guilty of a murder is an extremely serious matter, and accountability is necessary.
I'm sorry, and can you bend that microphone back down kind of to where you're speaking so we can pick up what you're saying?
Yes, sir. No parent deserves to see their child leave before them, and no friend deserves to see their friend leave this earth right in front of them. My deepest condolences go out to the family and the friends of Kayla Rincon-Miller. While without knowing Thomas's character, it is easy to form assumptions of who he is as a person. My whole life I have known him, and I know he is not just some criminal. He isn't a perfect character, and he has not always made the best decisions in life. However, he doesn't fit the description of someone who is incapable of doing no good in the world. He's always maintained a respectful and mannerly attitude, always ensured by his parents, showing genuine kindness and consistent effort to ensure the safety of those around him. Growing up, Thomas's parents always reminded us about the importance of safety towards others and ourselves. Thomas has never been someone who would take it upon himself to hurt others. I acknowledge that being found guilty for this crime, time is necessary and important for Thomas's personal growth. And this will allow him to demonstrate that he is capable of meaningful self-improvement like he has made these past 2 years. Thank you for acknowledging this letter and your service to the court, Your Honor. And once again, I would like to give my deepest condolences to the family of Kayla Rincon-Miller and her friends. And nobody deserves to lose a friend or a child right in front of them.
Thank you.
Judge, my next witness is Jessica Stein. She just has some love prepared from Thomas's family.
You raise your right hand. You swear affirm testimony you give will be the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth.
Yes.
You can take the stand.
All right, still with us this hour, trial attorney John Mobley. John, let me just say something. This is just a thing personal to me, right? It always gets me during these cases when, during victim impact or whatever, at what point in the trial where a friend of the now convicted murderer, they're this great person. They had a good soul. They're not perfect, but, clemency and all that different stuff. And I'm just always thinking, was the victim not a great person to their family and the people surrounding them? Did they not have great qualities? Were they maybe not perfect, but also had redeeming qualities about them? It seems like the victims always get lost upon some of these people, which I guess, if I flip the coin, I can understand where they're coming from. But do statements like that really even make a difference when it comes to a judge's decision?
I think in a situation like this, no. I mean, the defense attorney has a pretty difficult job because basically at this point, he's trying to get sympathy for the devil. But, he's kind of got to make it count. and, putting up, your teenage friend and even, your mother. I mean, judges hear parents all the time. I mean, you can kill 12 people and be a serial killer, and your parents will say you were a great and wonderful, loving young man who would never hurt anybody. So I think that, in a case like this, I would have put up something more substantial, perhaps a psychologist who would say that, they've completed a extensive psychological profile and evaluation, and that, due to his young age and lack of violent history, he can be rehabilitated and be productive in society in the future. You want to put something like that up to give the judge something substantial, something to think about. You want to, highlight with that evaluation, he may have committed some crimes in the past, but none of those crimes involve violence or weapons. They were just, really kind of petty crimes, breaking in cars. You want to kind of show that contrast. And perhaps, if he did anything in the community at all, and I've represented some bad people, drug dealers, violent criminals, but, sometimes you do enough investigation, you find out they helped out at church, they did things, to help underprivileged kids, things to kind of show the judge that they're not this violent criminal. You want to paint a different picture. That's what you want to do in a case like this. Putting up your friend and his mom, I mean, you're not putting points on the board.
Absolutely. I mean, sympathy for the devil is a great way to put it there, John. I mean, also a great song by the Rolling Stones, if I do say so myself. But, John, to your point, I mean, all those things, I hear what you're saying, but it's like, those were things they were doing in the past. We're talking about right now. But I guess that's what, that's the job of a defense attorney. Everyone has a job to do. And speaking of the defense, John, throughout the course of the trial, they argued Stein was not the shooter, which obviously that argument ultimately was, irrelevant under the felony murder law, which in Florida here, John, states, it simply holds a person responsible for an accidental or unintended death that occurs during the commission of a dangerous crime. I mean, that's just what happened here. Robbing with a gun, doesn't matter if you pulled the trigger. You were there during the commission of this violent crime. There was a firearm here. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess they had to try to defend it here, but I tried to defend that, but it ultimately came up falling short.
Well, I think it's still relevant, though, because, I mean, you still have to think about sentencing and mitigation. And, and sometimes, cases go to trial, and you want to use that trial as one big, long plea and use that trial to flesh out the facts that are consistent with your theory of mitigation. And if, for example, the judge truly did believe that based on the evidence that, okay, yeah, maybe he was there and he's guilty under the hand of one, the hand of all theory, his specific conduct is not such that he deserves a life sentence. I mean, I understand that strategy.
Absolutely. And, another point that came up during the trial, he had a co-defendant testify against him here, John. I mean, talk about how, powerful that could be when you got somebody who was there with you pointing the finger like, no, Judge, it was him. He already took the plea deal and everything. He had, his accountability. But, yeah, Judge, him over there, not me. It was him that pulled the trigger. I mean, that's pretty strong to me.
Well, it's one of those things. I mean, what else is a co-defendant going to say? I mean, I don't, when you talk about co-defendant testimony, I personally don't put a whole lot of weight on it for that very, very reason, because you have this co-defendant who is sitting in the same position as you. He's in your shoes. So, hey, they have an opportunity to get a better deal from themselves by pointing the finger at you. Why wouldn't they? They have everything to gain and nothing to lose. So that in itself is not something I find particularly compelling. What is compelling is if there's any corroboration to back that co-defendant up.
Absolutely. John, stand by. We're continuing right here in Florida with more of this sentencing at the top of the hour. The mother of the defendant gives her emotional statement. Keep it here on Court TV.